Good day, everybody. Finally another car video. On my way to my aunt's. It's my wife's aunt, actually, to deliver some food. She's an elderly lady, and she can't get out, doesn't have a car, and doesn't really feel safe about going out to the grocery store, obviously, because of the coof. So, I'm delivering some groceries to her. And normally I go with the wife, but the wife is feeling a little under the weather, of course, so she doesn't want to spread anything. Of course, I've been under house arrest with my wife forever, so I could be an asymptomatic spreader. So I'm putting her at risk, but I got my neck gaiter here, so I'll cover up my mouth for all the actual good this thing does. The mask thing is... Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. What I am going to get into, though, is something that came to my attention because of my good friend Irving Twin. He sent me a link to a National Post article on how the some committee that was made up specifically to address how to handle COVID some bioethics committee or what have you, basically on how to proceed if the ICUs and the healthcare system becomes overwhelmed because of the new UK variant, or because the second wave or the third wave. I don't know what wave we're on now. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, so they're basically, long story short, what it comes down to is they want to have the ability to take people off of life support without family consent or without patient consent. So if somebody's on life support for something not COVID related or what have you, doctors want to be able to bypass consent of the family or consent of the patient themselves to make the decision to take them off life support in order to make space for other more worthy patients. Yeah, so this is where we're at right now. This wonderful, system we have in Canada, this healthcare system that is the envy of the world, is basically setting up the framework by which doctors can say, let's see, you're gonna die within the next 12 months probably, so we're gonna take you off life support so we can give your bed to somebody who we might be able to save. Never mind the fact that you're elderly, you've paid into the healthcare system your entire life, and now when you need it the most, we're going to give it to somebody else. We're going to give your bed to somebody else. I got into a bit of a, I don't want to say a row, but a heated discussion with my mother the other day, talking about how we're essentially in a dictatorship at this point. I mean, more so, I guess, people in Quebec, but Ontario as well, to a degree. And she said, well, I don't think we're in a dictatorship. I'm like, well, what do you call it? You can't buy what you want. You can't go where you want. You can be fined for just getting together with your friends. People are being arrested for just having parties, getting together with their friends. I mean, this is the same sort of shit that happens in Islamic countries. This is the same sort of shit that happened in Soviet Russia. The same sort of shit that happened in China, communist China. So how are we not in a dictatorship? I mean, especially in Quebec. Viva Fry did a video on this recently. I gotta put up my window as I'm going on the highway. Viva Fry did a video about this recently while he was doing his curfew day. It was day 5 or something like that. You gonna let me get in, buddy? You gonna let me get in? Thanks, douchebag. All right. So in Quebec, they have a curfew. So not only do they have lockdowns and businesses are shut down, restaurants are closed, that kind of shit, but they have a curfew, meaning you can't go out between 8 and 5. 8 at night, 5 in the morning. So there are 2 instances where the idiocy of this policy ended in ridiculous outcomes. A homeless man couldn't stay in a shelter. Now, I don't know the whole story. I haven't read into it, but I'm just going based on what Viva Fry said. A homeless man wasn't allowed to stay in a shelter because the shelter had to shut down because of the curfew and the restrictions, right? So this homeless man ends up out on the street. Quebec can be a lot colder than Ontario. And Ontario can get pretty damn cold. He ends up trying to seek shelter in a porta potty on some construction site somewhere. Dies of exposure. Now another guy, homeless guy, meaning he has no place to dwell, was either fined or arrested for violating curfew. He can't help but break curfew. He doesn't have a home in which to dwell. Now, could be that they arrested him for violating curfew as a means to get him out off the street and somewhere warm. I don't know. If that's the case, very nice. But you could have done that anyway. I guess they needed a reason to arrest him. I don't know if they put cuffs on him or not, but anyway. It's just the sheer idiocy of this. And in Quebec, they've got this policy in place whereby if you go into a Walmart, you can only buy essential goods. Essential goods meaning pharmaceutical goods and healthcare goods and food. Everything else off limits. They've taped it off. You can't go in those aisles. Those aisles are covered in saran wrap, so you can't purchase from it. Now, Viva Fry talked about another homeless guy who wanted to buy a pair of socks. I guess he managed to scrounge up some panhandling cash, and he didn't have any socks on his feet. So he goes, sorry, I gotta fix this thing. So he goes into Walmart to get a pair of socks, and they won't sell him the socks. He said, I'm sorry, it's considered a non-essential good. And he shows them his feet. And he says, I don't have any socks. I need socks. Are those not essential for me? He says, sorry, I can't break the rules. Like, common sense has gone out the fucking window because of all this nonsense. And so this homeless guy goes out and he has no fucking socks on in minus 20 Celsius weather or whatever the hell it was. Gonna get frostbite, maybe lose his feet. Unfucking-believable. Anyway. And I can't understand the logic behind closing off the non-essential goods sections of Walmart and Costco. How does that prevent from viral spread? Now, a friend of mine said, well, it means that, the guy who buys groceries for your mom and dad or for your in-laws or whatever, he's not going to catch it because he can't go there and buy a flat screen. I'm like, but he can go there and buy groceries. So now you've got a store that has a capacity of, let's say, 600 shoppers on a normal day. They've closed off probably 2/3 of the store, and all those shoppers are now confined to the areas where they're only selling essential goods. So if anything, they're in closer quarters, and there's more likely going to be viral spread in those areas. Oh, but wait, everybody's wearing masks. Can't get the virus if you're wearing a mask. Oh, wait. Yes, you can. Well, that's okay, they're socially distancing. Oh, wait, no, you can't social distance because they confine everybody to just the food aisles. Does virus stick to a flat screen TV more than it sticks to, bell peppers? This doesn't make any fucking sense. None of these measures are making any fucking sense. And Viva Fry also had another good point. So they do the curfew and they do all these measures and put all these measures in place so that their ICUs don't get overwhelmed and their hospital, the healthcare system doesn't get overwhelmed. Listen, and his point is, the second wave has been known to be coming for quite some time now, and they had all this time to prepare. We've been in this situation for a year at this point, almost a year, 11 months or what have you. And so they've had all this time to prepare, to shore up medical facilities, to hire more nurses and doctors, to bring in army nurses and doctors if they're really concerned. But no, what are they spending their money on? COVID awareness campaigns. And here's the situation in a province in Quebec. 8.5 million, I think it is, in Quebec. You know how many people they've got in a hospital because of COVID? Like 1,600. 1,600 patients. of those in ICU beds, like 160 something. And you're telling me that this warrants curfews and lockdowns and shutting down businesses? The ineptitude with which the governments have handled this thing in Canada is mind-boggling. And the complicity by the part of the media, by continuing this fear panic, this fear porn with regards to COVID, is insulting and irritating, to say the least. But here in Ontario, we've got a different strategy. Doctors are now, they're pushing for doctors to be given the license. Oh, and not face any liability, by the way, either. If they take someone off life support and they die, the family can't sue them. No one can sue them. Can't sue the fucking government anyway. Nobody ever succeeds in suing the Canadian government. You might win a case in which you're brought charges or something's brought against you by the government, but no one wins a case against the Canadian government. I know somebody's gonna correct me and say, here, I can point to this case where so-and-so was awarded X. Yeah. But I'm saying with the degree that it happens, the rarity with which it happens, it's almost pointless to sue the government. Anyhow, this is dictatorship. This is a failed state. When we've become this country that has told its citizens for more than half a century, don't worry about your health care, we got you covered. And now, when shit gets real, the government, who's supposed to be providing everyone with health care, is now playing triage, they call it. But basically, it's essentially a death panel, where doctors can just take someone off life support because they're not likely to survive 12 months anyway. Family consent? Fuck that. Patient consent? Fuck that. No. We're going to do it because we need room for this COVID patient who has a better chance of surviving. Listen, just about everybody who gets COVID, just about, will survive it. 99 I think even if you're in the highest risk category for dying of it, you still have a 99.3% chance of surviving it. Now, what about all the unknown side effects or the long-term effects of COVID? Yeah, shit's tough. But you know what? I doubt anybody's going to be facing what they did with polio, where they can't fucking walk anymore. You might have trouble breathing. You might have to quit smoking. You might have to quit vaping. But most cases, you'll lose your sense of taste, maybe. You might have a lingering cough, maybe. Everybody's making this shit out like it's the bubonic plague or the Black Death or Spanish flu even. It's nothing like that, but we're acting as though it is. When we're not acting as though it is, our government's acting as though it is. And Irving Twin told me another thing. Apparently now they're starting to arrest protesters, people who are protesting the lockdowns, people who are exercising their fundamental right to air their grievances against their government are now facing arrest. Fuck this government. I keep saying fuck this country, but you know what? My countrymen aren't to blame. My government is to blame. And that's the other thing that really irritates me. People are acting as though the people who are to blame are the ones who just want to go about living their lives. People get mad and incensed when somebody says, I just want to meet with my friends. What's wrong with that? I just want to go and go to a restaurant. What the fuck is wrong with that? Things that we just took for granted half a year ago or a year ago. Now people get mad at you for wanting to do the things that you yourself did a year ago. And they're blaming you. Oh, if these people would just stop going out and not social distancing, we could get back to our normal lives. No. They're not taking your normal life away from you. The government is. So why are you getting mad at people for taking away your life when they're just trying to live their life, when it's the government who took away your life, took away your normal life? People need a consciousness shift, or they need to, I don't know, they need to get a different perspective on this. Why would you blame people who have the courage to say, to hell with all this, I'm not going to live like a prisoner in my own home. I'm going to live my life. Why are you mad at them when you could simply just do the same thing? People forget that they have more power than their government, or philosophically speaking, we have more power than our government. If everybody, just critical mass, went out and said, F this shit, we're not doing it anymore. You've destroyed this country in your failed attempts to control a virus that by and large is not that big a fucking deal. Then the government would have to relent. That's what democracy. That's democracy in action. Anyway, I'm at my aunt's now. Gonna deliver her food. I appreciate you all listening to me rant. It's a big, long one. I'm going all the way from Burlington into Oakville, so it's a good long ride. Even taking the highway, it takes a few minutes. Anyway, you all take care. Have yourselves a great weekend. Don't believe the hype. And I'll talk to y'all soon. I'm going to make another channel. I'll get into that in a little bit. To tell you about what that is. There's going to be another ammunition live stream soon too. Ammunition 11. I'll have Irving on again. Maybe another guest. I don't know. But yeah, stay tuned for this other channel. Now, if you only get notification about these videos or my live streams on Twitter, that's not going to happen anymore because I canceled my Twitter account. I said to hell with this. It's a cesspool anyway. I was hoping to use Parler, but doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. They failed at getting their injunction or their temporary restraining order, or what have you. But Viva Fry's got a video on that too. But the hope is that they find another service provider that they can get their shit done. They can put their services on, all their data. I'm thinking they should go overseas. They should go to some, sort of digital haven country. I don't know, Amsterdam or something, and host there. But that's up to them. They got to figure that shit out. Anyway, thanks very much for watching, you all. You have yourselves a great weekend. Take care, and bye-bye.